Om. 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 Sahana vavatu. Sahano bhunaktu. Sah Viryam karavavahai. तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Sairam everyone. Just to put things into perspective, we have been studying the verses of the Bhaja Govindam, one of the most famous works of Sri Adi Shankaracharya, which consists of 31 verses. Of these, 16 verses were picked up by Swami to be given discourses on during the 1973 summer showers, and we had covered those in detail. And the remaining 15 verses we have been covering, 3 verses each week. The last 3 verses will be covered today. So with that, actually, it comes to an end, the study of Bhaja Govindam. So we will start. Okay, Saira. This is the 22nd verse in the published book, Bhaja Govindam works. You can find anywhere. We'll start. Rathya charpata virachita kantah punya punya vivarjita pantah yogi yogini yogi yoga niyojita chitta chitto ramate balonmattava deva रत्याचर्पट विरचित कंतः पुण्या पुण्य विवर्जित पंतः योगी योग नियोजित चित्तो रमते बालोन्मत्तव देव रत्याचर्पट विरचित कंतः पुण्या पुण्य विवर्जित पंतः योगी योग नियोजित चित्तो रमते बालोन्मत्तव देव. In terms of pronunciation, let's look at the letters which we'll pay attention to. In the first line, Rathya, and the Th is the second letter in the Tha Varga consonants. So it has to be aspirated. Rathya, Charpata Virachita, Kantha. The last letter in the first line also is the same Tha, which is the second letter in the Tha Varga or third class of consonants, which has to be aspirated. So just make sure that Rathya Kantha. Okay, that's those two are the only consonants which are aspirated. The first line, the second line, Punya Punya Vivarjita Panta. The last letter is the same letter as the first line, has to be aspirated. If you take the third line, there are no consonants which are aspirated. Yogi Yoga Niyojita Chitto. In the last one also, there are no aspirated consonants. Ramate Balon Matta Dev. Let's look at the split of the words and any sandhis which are present. If you actually take the first line here, It's one single word. It's a samasa comprising of four words. There are no sandhi related changes, but I have separated each of those words independently, but uh, there is no sandhi related change. Rathya, Charpata, Virachita, and Kanta. If you take the second line, that's also the same. There are four words which comprise one compound word. There are some changes related to sandhi. Let's look at them. Punya, apunya. The ya and a together becomes ya, a longer ya, longer ya. Okay, so punya, punya. But it's punya and apunya is the distinct words. Vivarjita pantaka, there are no sandhi related change. Um, then we look at, so, and when I say sandhi related, these are what I call internal sandhi within a word. Okay. But in a samasa, the words don't decline in the sense they don't take second vibhakti, third vibhakti. The meaning will have that. So that's the reason we are not splitting them as separate words. Okay, that's the reason. That's what happens in a samasa. If you take the third line, the yogi is yogi, standalone a word. The next word is also a samasa or compound word. There are no sandhi related changes to any of the letters, but I've separated them yoga, niyojita, and chitta. So chitta, actually chitto, the visarga has become O there because even though there's third line and fourth line, they're actually one line and there's a sandhi related change. So chitta becomes chitto. That's the one of the common sandhi related change as far as visarga is concerned. Okay, chitto. The last line, ramate is a standalone word. Balmon mattavadeva is made of, there's one sandhi. There is balon mattavat is one compound word. And the last word is eva. That's why it's a standalone word. So the compound word or samasa is balon mattavat. Balonmatta is bala and unmatta. The la and u becomes lo. A and u becomes always o in sandhi. It's a vowel sandhi. So the bala and unmatta becomes balonmatta. Vat is it's also an suffix which gets attached. But there is no sandhi related change. Okay, bala unmatta vat. Balonmattavat is one samaso compound word. Okay. Then it plus a becomes they because the it becomes the third letter in the class of sounds because of sandhi. So it becomes id. So id plus a becomes they. That's how you get deva. Vat eva becomes vadeva. Okay, so that's sandhi related change. So with that, we will go into looking at the meaning of the verse. So, Ratya. Ratya means on the streets, in a way, path, road, street. Ratya. Charpata. Charpata means that which is fallen flat on something. Okay. So, Ratya Charpata. So, some piece of something which is fallen on the ground, on the streets. Virachita. Virachita means one who wearing. Virachita also means one who cherishes, also you can say. One who finds it attractive, virachita. Or one who uses it. Many meanings are given to virachita, but in this case, I have just used the one wearing. Kanta. It's a rag. I don't know. I mean, there are many Tamil people. Kandai, we say in Tamil. So that means it's a rag. It's a torn cloth. So the person finds rags which are torn or old, which are lying flat on the ground and wears that. Okay, the person's clothing is what is found on the streets. A rag or some old cloth found on the. So person who wears that is Ratya Charpata Virachita Kanta. We see people on the street, like beggars, they wear anything which is found. People have thrown away, they wear that. So that's what is described here. Ratya Charpata Virachita Kanta. The next line is Punya Apunya. Punya, as all of you know, merit, good deeds, good actions. Punya, apunya. Apunya means bad deeds. So sins, in English generally is referred as. So merits and sins. Vivarjita, he is abundant. Means who is discarding both equally. Doing good also is discarded, doing bad is also discarded. Pantaha. Pantaha means one who moves about is the meaning. That means the person moves about in life. He goes on in life having abandoned both merit and demerit. So the person doesn't engage in good activities, the person doesn't engage in bad activities. Doesn't see value in any of them. You should understand when you say punya, generally people do good deeds because they think good results will come. Some people do punya, they will think we'll go to heaven. This person is not interested. So this describes a person, who is not worried about doing punya, who is not worried about doing papa. So that means he's doing not action. Akarman, or you can say, a person who has transcended action. So he has given up all activity. So that which also means that the person doesn't worry about punya or apunya. They may be doing actions, but they are not worried about whether it's punya, it'll give me merit, it'll apunya. They just do. Okay. Yogi. It's a simple noun. First vibhakti. Yogi means that person is a true yogi. Okay. Yoga niyojita chittaha. Oh, I have not given the meaning yogi because I've given the meaning here. So I hope, I think I will leave it as is. So a yogi. Okay. Yoga. So this is the path of yoga. It also means someone who is united. Someone who is united with divinity. Is yogam. Okay. So union with divinity. Okay. That person is only interested in yoga. Niyojita means that's the only thing the person is thinking about. Niyoj comes again from the word yuj. Yuj means to yoke. In English, there's the word yoke. So the chitta, his mind is hooked or yoked to yoga. So the mind is only intent on this concept of yoga. The mind is not thinking about anything else. So that person's mind is fixed on union with the divinity. That means the person is continuously united with the Lord. He is a yogi. Ramate. Ramate means the person is always in a state of happiness. He is completely in a state of delight. The person is happy. Balo unmattavat. Bala means child. Unmatta means a mad person, or it can be a person under intoxication. The person who has taken liquor, a lot, will be in a state of bliss. Okay. A child also is always happy. Swami always says, when a child is, in the smile of a child, God is present. Anyone's heart will melt when a child smiles. There's no reason. The child look at anything and smile. They're always happy. They don't have any cares. They don't have worries about anything. So that is a state of joy. I think everyone at childhood, careless joy is there. Everyone experiences. So this yogi who wears anything he finds on the street, he's not worried about punya, apunya. The person is always fixed on yoga. That is the mind is united with God. That person is always in joy, just like a child or a person who is mad or intoxicated. Eva, indeed. So this is one of the later verses, 22nd verse. So uh, that the message which comes is the one who is united with the Lord doesn't care about anything in this world. Am I doing good? Am I doing bad? Nothing matters. And that person is always in a state of bliss. Ramate balon mattavat eva. Uh, we are thinking of Narada Bhakti Sutra as the next one, one of the things which I was considering. In Narada Bhakti Sutra, a person who is a devotee is also described as that. A real devotee is always in a state of delight, just like a child. Okay, so it's a similar concept. So we will look at some of the exception Swami's discourses. On one occasion, after the battle, Dharmaraja went to Krishna's mansion to tell him about his despondency and despair. At that time, Krishna told Dharmaraja all the details about the future of Parikshit. He told him how Parikshit would acquire a great name and fame and how he would achieve far greater glory than all his predecessors. He also told him how, because of a curse from a saint, Parikshit would lose his life by a snake bite. While talking thus to Dharmaraja, Krishna suddenly lapsed into a brief silence. And Dharmaraja was totally confused. After a few minutes, Dharmaraja asked why Krishna thus became silent in the middle of the narration. Krishna said that he had to go and respond to the call of Bhishma, who was lying on his bed of arrows. Those who have a sacred heart will be able to get the Lord's grace by praying sincerely. There's no difference between a sacred mind and God. A prayer from a sacred person will go straight to the Lord. Such people are embodiments of wisdom and they are forms of Advaita. They had enjoyed the oneness with divinity. They firmly believe that there's only one truth in the world and that there is no parallel truth. Such people are always in a state of great ecstasy and are really like children. That is why it is said that the state of a child, of a person who is in great ecstasy, and of a madman are alike. Because of the consequences of excitement of one's senses, man sometimes forgets his true nature. Truly, man seeks only Ananda. He is also intrinsically a selfless person. But by the pressure of his sensory organs, he gets attached to material desires and forgets God. For the benefit of such people, and with great love and affection, the aspect of Krishna is being taught by Bhagavata. This discourse Swami gave in 1978 during the summer course. So where he spoke a lot about Bhagavatam. So in one of the discourses, Swami is talking about What Bhagavatam is full of devotees who are either children in their state of mind or they are God intoxicated or just mad. So Swami is nicely talking about it. So he's talking about Bhishma. Bhishma, who was in the bed of arrows, was one with the Lord. So the Lord had to go when he needed something on the bed of arrows. And Swami is explaining what a great devotee Bhishma was. Whatever he had done, he was a great devotee of the Lord. And Swami said he was in a state of ecstasy, even though he was on a bed of arrows. There was no reason for that person to be happy. There's no reason for that person to be sad also. So beyond punya and apunya, and that's the state which Swami is describing. So which basically talks about the same state which is described in this verse which we read. We will go to another excerpt of Swami. Yes, sister.
Saram, brother. So you're saying they are not worried about the punya or punya, right? Merit or sin. But they have so that part I didn't get it. Or devotee supposed to think that they are doing the good things, right? Not doing any sins. So I know he's not affected, but how he's not considering apunya is not matters, kind of like a state of mind. Even we don't expect for fruits, but when we do things, we have to do it with a good intention. Am I right?
The ultimate devotee is not worried about anything, sister. Because for him, the Lord is taking care of everything. He is not the doer. He doesn't worry about who has to do, who should not do. He is totally lost in the Lord. There's nothing else that person needs. Because I think two reasons. Number one, the person doesn't depend on anything to be happy in this world. The person doesn't think that he has to do anything. Because for him, the Lord is the only one who is doing work in this world.
So
They are totally lost in that thought. You see, a tree, if you look at a tree outside, the tree is not worried that it has to do good or bad. But does it do good? It does good. A person who is in that state of mind, just their presence is good enough to do good to the world. Because the person doesn't expect anything from this world. Whatever the person is, others will just benefit. Because once you reach that state of continuous happiness, not worried about anything in this world, we all do action because we think we have to fix something. Otherwise, there's no action. If you're hungry, you will eat. If you're sick, you will take medicine. You think somebody else is sick, you have to give medicine. But for that if once reach that state, if the person looks, somebody's hunger will vanish. If that person looks, that person's disease will vanish. He is same as God. This is what Swami is telling. Get to that point only also sadhana. People who do sadhana should not think that they are devotees. They are not yet devotee, they want to become devotee. This sentence is very important. There's no difference between a sacred mind and God. Okay, sacred mind and God. Just the person's presence is enough. There are many great rishis who don't do anything. They just sat there, and just because they were just sitting there, many people benefited. They are not saying, oh, I am benefiting them. No, just the fact they are there. Just like a river runs. River doesn't worry, oh, I have to quench people's thirst. Others can go and drink. The tree doesn't think, oh, I have to give fruits so everyone will get fruits. No, the tree just naturally gives fruits. If people take it, is their benefit. In this world, we can't do any good to anyone actually. But the reason a sadhaka does duty is because we are always engaged in selfish things. For that purpose, Swami says, do some good to other people. So only for people who are trying to become devotee, that's important. But once a person becomes the totally absorbed in the Lord, there's only one person doing the work. They don't think, oh, I don't want the Lord to do work. So there are many stories of devotees for whom the Lord himself came and did the work.
So he thinks every action is the
He
God's
does,
act.
he doesn't think.
Doesn't think. So it happens automatically.
He only thinks about the Lord.
So the apanya is not really happening, but because it's God doing, that's not the intention. That's not the merit intention. It happens like that. Only we have to take it, right?
That person thinks everything in this world is God's actions.
Okay.
Okay. See, ultimately, Bhagavad Gita also, that's what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Kill, no problem.
Already I have done it. Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, so that identity. That's why Krishna was laughing. Swami says who can just laugh and sing in the battlefield? Only Krishna can do. Okay, so Jnani is like that. That's the meaning. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Sai Ram, Sai Ram. We'll continue. Another excerpt. Sorry. Therefore, though you have to be the agent and instrument of doing everything, keep praying, keep on praying with devotion and faith. Faith is the product of peace, not of haste and hurry. For the acquisition of the grace of the Lord and the resulting awareness of the reality, the quality of peace is the prime need. Every aspirant is aware of how Draupadi, through her dharma and peace, deserved the grace of the Lord. I'll just repeat again. Every aspirant is aware of how Draupadi, through her dharma and peace, deserved the grace of the Lord. Though her husbands were mighty heroes and far-famed monarchs, she sought refuge in Lord Krishna, feeling that all others were of no use. But Prahlada did not seek refuge under similar circumstances. At birth, he had surrendered all to the Lord. He knew that the Lord was ever by his side and that he was ever by the side of the Lord. So he had no need to call out to him for protection. Prahlada was unaware of anything except the Lord. He could not distinguish between one function of the Lord and another. So how could he pray for protection when he did not know that he was being punished? For all such God intoxicated and dedicated souls, prayer is unnecessary. But until that stage is reached, prayer is an attitude of peace. Prayer in an attitude of peace is essential for aspirants. Prayer with this attitude will promote equanimity in enjoyment, samarasa. The Lord can be prayed to by means of recital of the name of God, continual repetition of the name of the Lord, meditation or devotional singing. In every one of these, the chief item is the divine name. That's why Krishna spoke in the Gita of recitation of the name. When repetition of the name is done, it is better to recite aloud and make it devotional singing. This will inspire the gathering. If devotional songs are sung in a sweet voice, people will be drawn toward the Lord. Gradually, it will develop into love for God, and His grace will follow in due course. One should patiently wait for that grace. This is an excerpt from Swami's Vahini, Prashanti Vahini, from chapter 7. So Swami here talks about various stages of how a devotee is. And the final stage, the devotee doesn't have to pray like Prahlada. He was totally immersed, united with the Lord. He didn't see any distance between him and the Lord. So these are the two excerpts of great devotion and how that devotee will be. We'll go to the next verse. Kastvam koham kuta ayatah kame janani kame tatah iti paribhavaya sarvamasaram vishwam tyaktva swapna vichar. Kastvam koham kuta ayatah kame janani kome tatah iti paribhavaya sarvamasaram vishwam tyaktva swapna vichar. Kastvam koham kuta ayatah kame janani kome tatah iti paribhavaya sarvamasaram vishwam tyaktva swapna vicharam. Let's look at sandhi related changes here. The first line, kastvam, is made up of kaha and tvam. The visarga has become is due to sandhi. That's how you get kastvam. But the two distinct words are kaha and tvam. The next word, koham, kaha plus aham becomes koham. So visarga becomes o. The visarga actually becomes u. So ka plus u becomes ko. Okay. And aham, in the aham, the a becomes silent. So that's how you get koham. Kaha, aham becomes koham. So that's sandhi. The next word is kutaha. The visarga actually it's dropped. It's in Sanskrit, it's called lopa. So it's dropped. Okay, kuta. So kutaha becomes kuta. Ayataha. Okay, so there are three sandhi changes. The next line, kame janani, there are no changes due to sandhi. Kaha becomes ko. Okay. Next word is kaha becomes ko me tataha. So visarga becomes o. Due to visarga, kaha becomes o. The next line, iti and paribhave, there are no sandhi related changes. That last word, sarvam asaram, sarvam plus asaram becomes sarvam asaram. It's a simple sandhi. Two words are sarvam and asaram. The becomes a, and that's how you get sarva masaram. The last line is Vishwam stands alone as a word, no change. Tyaktva stands alone as a word, no sandhi related change. Swapna vicharam is a compound word. The two distinct words are swapna and vicharam. So I have separated them for ease of understanding. Vishwam tyaktva swapna vicharam. So those are the only sandhi related changes. I have not spent time on aspirated consonant because there are no aspirated consonants in this verse. Okay, so they are all simple letters. That's the reason I had not mentioned. We can look at the word-to-word meaning. Kaha aham. Kaha tvam. Kastvam is the first word. Who are you? So I put R in brackets, so you can easily understand. But this R is just implied. Okay. Kaha tvam. Who are you? Kaha aham. Who am I? Kaha means who. It's a question. Okay. Who am I? Who are you? Okay. That's Kutaha aya. Kutaha means from where? From which place? That's also another question. From where? Ayata have come. So where have you come from? Where have I come from? Who are you? Who am I? Where have we come from? That's a question. Ka is also a question who, but it's a feminine form of kaha. Kaha is masculine, ka is feminine. Ka, who. Me is my. I put again is just for ease of understanding. Where, said who, my Janani. Janani means mother. Who is my mother? Okay. Kaha again question. Who? Me, I don't know how this show. Okay. Who is my tata? Father. So who are you? Who am I? Where have you come from? Uh, who is my mother? Who is my father? So these are all questions. Iti means thus. Paribhavaya. So there's no simple way to translate this word bhavaya. Bhava means to have that state of mind, have that experience also, or consider, or visualize, or contemplate. All this is paribhavaya. Pari means properly, in every angle. That type of meaning is pari, means total view. So one has to look at the whole thing. That is this world. Okay, paribhavya means contemplate on this. That's an instruction. It's an instruction, imperative word. Okay, do consider. So do consider looking at this world, asking what is this, what is that, where everyone has come from, who are they, who am I, who, that kind of a consideration. That's vichara, means inquiry. What do you have to consider? Sarvam asaram. Sarva means all, everything in this world is asaram. Saram means meaning, or there's essence. There's some juice. Okay, saram. Asara means it is without any juice, without any essence, without any meaning. In this world, everything doesn't is asara. The external world, everything is meaningless, doesn't have anything of substance. Okay, that is how we should contemplate. We ask these questions and come to the realization that all this world, everything in this world is meaningless, useless. Vishwam. Vishwam is this universe, what we see. Okay, Vishwam, this world. Tyaktva. Tyaktva means having given it up. Okay. Having given up this entire world as swapna vichara. Swapna means a dream. Vicharam is also, you can say, inquiry, questioning. Okay. Or it can also means we have cooked up something. So vichara has multiple meanings, however we want to give. So what the verse is saying is, ask this question, who is my mother, who is my father, who am I, who are they? Realizing that this world is completely useless. Okay. And inquire, see this world as nothing but a dream. Inquire into them. Thus you paribhavaya. So our contemplation, our thinking, our inquiry should be this. Question everything you see and find out from where everything has come, and realize they are all meaningless. They don't last. They are not impermanent. Knowing this, continuously contemplate on that. So this advice is for people who are worldly minded. We just looked at the words where the one is completely beyond everything. But for those who are engaged in this world, so that we cultivate vairagya, or renunciation, sense of renunciation, Shankara and his disciples are telling, ask this question and realize that this world is meaningless. asaram. Everything in this world is meaningless. What we do, what we enjoy, what we think we enjoy, all this actually don't have any meaning without the substance. And they all just dream. Okay, that's what. See, ultimately, this Bhaja Govindam is Moha Mudkar. It completely destroys Moham, unnecessary attachment, our delusion. That's the purpose of this. And so this verse also tells this. Don't give value to anything in this world. Any relationship, don't give value. So that's the meaning of these words. Let's look at some excerpts from Swami. When the buddhi, intellect, is thus transmuted, man attains siddhi, fulfillment. When moral discipline is absent, man reduces himself into a brute. There's a spark of the divine in each one, and the duty is to foster it and develop it and benefit by it, rather than smother it and silence it. How to keep in constant contact with this higher self that is seeking expression in our acts and words and thoughts? The best means is simple exercise of nama smarana, the repetition of any one of the meaningful names of the Lord, signifying the glory that lies embedded in man. People indulge in all types of purposeless gossip and scandal. They find time and interest in these degrading pursuits, but they have no inclination to awaken the divine in them by constant indwelling on the splendor of creation and the Creator. See only such scenes as will foster this discipline. Speak only of elevating, uplifting subjects. Listen only to purifying topics. Think and feel only pure thoughts and emotions. This is the way to develop the divinity inherent in each one. Only thoughts now build up on our thoughts now build up only castles in the air. Our plans are like bubbles on the surface of the waters. They are ephemeral because they have no grounding in the permanent, the eternal base. Life on this world is a bubble that is formed in a second and bursts the next second. It is a fair that lasts a portion of a day. The entire career of a person starts and finishes in a matter of 2 hours. All the pomp and paraphernalia that man seeks and flourishes are of the stuff of dreams. Which among this is true? Which among these lasts for all time without degenerating or declining or dying? You are all present now. You are seeing me and listening to me. You feel now that this is true. But how long is this true? How true is all this? This is real experience for you as long as you are in the waking stage. This night, when you lie down in bed and start dreaming, the dream is as real to you as all this. This waking stage and all this experience are then unreal. You experience fears, delusions, joys, and pleasures in the dream, and they are all true so long as you dream. But wake up and the dream is negated. Both are dreams, a night dream and a daydream. Only one idea is permanent through the dream, the deep sleep and the waking, the idea of I. I dream, I slept, I woke. That I, the I behind all these manifold millions, that I is the truth and nothing else. This is a discourse Swami gave in 1966. So he's talking about this life in this world as nothing but a dream. without any meaning and will not last forever. I have another excerpt, it's slightly longer excerpt. Worldly relations like father, mother, son, and daughter are based only on feelings. One develops attachment to them considering their name and form. Prior to birth, who is father and who is son? Prior to marriage, who is husband and who is wife? These relationships are temporary, like passing clouds. All come in between and then vanish. Only the Atma is true, eternal, and changeless. The Vedas also declare it is attributeless, unsullied, final abode, eternal, pure, enlightened, free, and embodiment of sacredness. Nirgunam, Niranjanam, Sanatana, Niketana, Nitya Sud, Nitya Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, Nirmala, Swarupin. A description of the Atma, or divinity. That is Atma. At one time, sage Vyasa's son Sukadeva wanted to go away to undertake penance, leaving his father and home. The father could not bear the pangs of separation from his son and ran after him, saying, "Don't go to the forest. Stay at home and lead a family life." Sukha said to his father, "You are not the father, and I am not the son. Both you and I have come out of the same bliss. Hence, bliss is our source. Everyone aspires to attain bliss. No one wants to live even for a moment without bliss in this world. Though people aspire for bliss, they do not practice that which can lead them to bliss." I'll read again. Though people aspire for bliss, they do not practice which can lead them to bliss. They should make earnest efforts for what they aspire. People don't undertake the meritorious deeds but want to derive their fruits. They indulge in sinful activities but want to escape the consequences. Punyasya phalamichanti, punyam nechanti manava. So this in Sanskrit, Swamiji. Na papa palamichanti, papam kurvantu yatnatah. Sanskrit verse. Swami is translating it. People want the results of actions of merit, but they follow the path that is just opposite. They do not want the consequences of sinful deeds, but they step forward to indulge in sins. Therefore, perform good deeds if you desire good results. You aspire for one thing, you practice something else and say something different. This is not the true objective of human life. The proper study of mankind is man. Unity of thoughts, words, and actions is true human life. Human is the very form of love, but they change their love in several ways. The moment a boy is born, he has intense love for his mother. As a child, he cannot live without his mother even for a moment. He wants to spend all his entire life in his mother's lap. As time passes and he enters school for studies, his love for his mother gradually becomes less, and his love for his friends becomes more due to the change of food and environment. He considers his friends his own self, his very life. How long do these friends remain with you? They remain with you so long as there is money in your pocket and your father has a high position. Basing on these two considerations, you will be surrounded by hundreds of friends who will say hello, hello to you. But when your pocket becomes empty and your father has retired, they will leave you even without saying goodbye. As long as there is water in the tank, thousands of frogs gather in it. When the tank is dry, not even one frog will be there. This is worldly friendship, but friendship with God is not like that. God is your real friend who will be always with you, above you, below, and all around you. Have friendship with such a true friend. Unable to understand this truth, students today are enamored of their worldly friends who are only fair weather friends. That does not mean you should hate your friends. How far should you enjoy their friendship? It should be limited to hello, hello, how are you, goodbye, goodbye. Bear no hatred against anyone. Adveshta sarvabhutana. You don't need to hate anybody, but at the same time, do not have too much attachment because worldly friends change from moment to moment. After completing their education, boys get married. Thereafter, their love for the friends declines. Then wife becomes life. They struggle hard and offer various gifts to please their wife. How long does this love last? It will start declining in a short time. Suppose a husband and wife go for a walk in the garden soon after their marriage. When the husband sees a thorn on the way, he catches hold of her hand in all anxiety and worry lest she step on the thorn. He starts shouting, thorn, thorn. He loves his wife like his life principle. After 6 months, they go out in another direction. That day also, the husband notes the thorn. He says, there's a thorn, be careful. Thus, the intensity of the love becomes less. After 1 year, when they go for on a different path, the husband again sees a thorn on the way and shouts at her, can't you see there's a thorn in the way? Come back. In 1 year, there has occurred so much change in love. Worldly love is sure to decline. After they beget 1 or 2 children, the father directs his love towards the children. He struggles to foster and educate them. But he forgets that his head, blood, money, and everything are his parents' gift. Forgetting that truth, he becomes indifferent towards his father. Then differences crop up between father and son. When differences start, father exercises control over his money. So this love is never permanent at any time. Therefore, make effort to develop love for God. Life is full of worries. Because one has money, that does not mean one has no worries. One cannot escape from worries in spite of wealth and people around them. One is bound by 12 worries. To be born is a worry. To be on earth is a worry. The world is a cause of worry. The death too, the entire childhood is a worry. So is old age. Life is a worry. Failure is a worry. All actions and difficulties cause worry. Even happiness is a mysterious worry. Devotion to Swami alone will put an end to all worries. O people, develop such devotion and love. We live under the tree of worries and anxieties. Love for God is the panacea for all worries. Therefore, develop love for God to get rid of all worries. For every disease, there's a prescribed medicine, but love for God will cure all ills of humanity. The same divinity is present in different forms that we see in this world. When we recognize all-pervading unity in the entire diversity, we can realize divinity. So those are the excerpts which I had. As Swami has said, the asaram of the world. Nothing is of any essence. We may delude ourselves for a short while that things are, valuable, that they will give us happiness, but soon they change into things which don't give us happiness. The same things don't give happiness because the circumstances change. Swami has nicely explained this in this excerpt. We'll go to the final verse for our study. It's the 28th verse. Though there are 31 verses, we have already looked at. Swami has discoursed on the 29th, 30th, and 31st verses. So this is the 28th verse. So let's look at it. Sai. Sukhatah kriyate Rama bhogah paschatanta शरीरे रोगः यद्यपि लोके मरणं शरणं तदपि न मुञ्चति पापाचरणम् सुखतः क्रियते रामा भोगः पश्चादन्त शरीरे रोगः यद्यपि लोके मरणं शरणं तदपि न मुञ्चति पापाचरणम् सुखतः क्रियते रामा भोगः पश्चादन्त शरीरे रोगः यद्यपि लोके मरणं शरणं तदपि न मुञ्चति पापाचरणम्. Now let's look at letters which may have to be which have to be aspirated. The first word sukhatah. The second letter ka is aspirated. Second letter in the ka class of sound consonants, ka varga consonants. It has to be aspirated. Sukhatah kriyate rama bhogah. This bho is the fourth letter in the per class of consonants. Per varga, it has to be aspirated. Rama bhogah. Paschadanta sharire roga, there are no aspirated. So there is one aspirated. Paschadha. This the, okay. The second letter in that compound consonant is aspirated. Paschadhanta. Okay. Sharire roga. Yadyapi loke maranam sharanam, there are no consonants aspirated. Tadapi munchati papacharanam, there are no aspirated consonants. Let's look at the sandhis. Sukataha, standalone word, no change due to sandhi. Kriyate stands alone as a word. Rama bhoga is a compound word, samasa. I have just, there are no sandhi related changes internally, but I have separated the words for ease of reading. Rama and bhoga. Paschadanta, there's a sandhi. The two separate words are paschat and hanta. So there are a couple of things which happen in this sandhi. The it becomes id, third letter in the tha varga. The tha becomes the, id. The ha actually becomes dha. And aspirate, that's the fourth letter in the tha varga. So the ha becomes dha, the fourth letter in the tha varga. And so that's a big change. That's where you get paschadhanta. But when it's broken, it's paschat and hanta. The next two words, sharire and roga, there are no changes to any sandhi. The next line is yadyapi. It's made of yadi and api. Okay. Yadi and api becomes yadyapi. E plus a becomes ya. Okay, that's how you can yadyapi. Loke, there are no changes. Maranam and sharanam, no changes due to sandhi. The next line, tat api, there's a sandhi. The it becomes id, the third letter in the class of sounds. So, tat api becomes tadapi. The id plus a becomes the. So that's how we get tadapi. I think we have already looked at a couple of words like that. Na munchati, no changes. Papa charanam, it's a compound word. I've just separated the distinct words. One is papa and acharanam becomes papa acharanam. Per plus a becomes pa. So that's how you get papa charanam. So those are the sandhis and the individual words we'll look at. What word mean? Sukhataha. The right translation is from happiness. Oh, I should have typed it. Sorry. Sukha, but if it doesn't read well, so I put for happiness. So for the sake of happiness is sukhatha. Okay. From happiness means from the search for happiness, you can say. Kriyate. Kriyate means they do. If somebody is performing some action. I've given the word engage in here because of the context. But someone does something, it's kriyate. It's a present tense verb. Rama Bhogaha. Bhogaha is enjoyment. One who enjoys the bhoga, enjoyment also. Bhoga is enjoyment. Rama. Rama comes from the word Rama. Rama means a charming woman. It's a feminine word. Just the way Ramaha, a feminine form is Rama. Okay, but in this context, it means a beautiful woman or one woman who grants pleasure. That kind of meaning gives. So, because of our, when one seeks happiness, they do enjoyment of beautiful, pleasure-giving women. So that's the meaning of this verse. Okay. Uh, Rama Bhoga. Sita is also called Rama, but that's the context is different. She also gives divine delight, just the way Rama. So I think it's a slight different topic. But here Rama means a pleasure-giving woman. Okay, Rama Bhoga. Paschat means afterwards. Hanta is a sound of exclamation, oh, sad thing, or, alas. Okay. Sharire roga. Sharire means in the body, roga, disease. So, seeking pleasure, people enjoy women, and later their body is filled with disease. Okay, this is the first two line. Yadyapi. Yadyapi means even when, loke in this world, maranam sharanam. Maranam is death, sharanam is refuge. The ultimate refuge is only death. Okay. So whatever you do in this world, ultimately one has to end in death. Okay. Tatapi. So tatapi, even then, na munchati, does not give up. I think we have looked at a few places already, this word, this na munchati, does not give up. Papa charana, papa acharana. Sinful practice. Papa is sin. Acharana means following, practicing. So what this verse says is, people are intent on seeking pleasure and spend their life. Ultimately, the body will be filled with all sorts of diseases. And what is the only thing which is left is death. That's the only savior, from disease. When people suffer the old age and all the diseases, they will say, we don't know when we can die. They are waiting for death. Death seems to be the only refuge which will liberate them from all the diseases. Even if it is so, people don't want to give up practicing sense. That is, sense is nothing but that which gives you pain and worry and suffering. People don't give up that. In the previous discourse itself, Swami says people want something, but they are not doing. They want the results of punya, but they don't want to engage in punya. They don't want the results of papa, but they engage in sinful activity. That's what already Swami has said, which is what this verse also says. I was debating whether I should put that discourse as this discourse, but Swami has already said it. So people who want good things, they should do punya. That's what it is. I have a few excerpts. We'll read them. The Shastras and the Vedas point out the means of securing secret of lasting joy. But man is attempting to earn shadowy joys, fleeting pleasures fraught with evil and harm. He is trying to draw water with a pot full of holes. The senses leak out the joy he draws. They are wild, untutored servants who dictate to their master, the mind. Mind has to be brought under your grip. Then the servants will fawn at your feet. The mind is the monarch. The senses or indriyas are the soldiers. The soldiers are now ruling the king. because he lends his ears to them and not to buddhi, intellect, who is the prime minister. Let buddhi take charge. In a moment, the senses will be forced back into camp and the mind can save itself. The Atma is the sun in the firmament of the heart. Now the light of the sun is obstructed by the thick clouds of Vishaya Vasana, desire for sense objects and objective pleasure. Let the strong wind of Paschatapa, repentance and resolution, scatter the clouds so that the Atma may shine forth brilliantly. Man thinks he's enjoying the pleasures, but really speaking, it is the pleasures that are enjoying man. For they sap his energies, dry up his discrimination, eat up his allotted years, and worm into his mind, infesting it with egoism, envy, malice, hate, greed, and lust. You should not plunge into action spurred by momentary impulse. Ponder deeply over the pros and cons. Weigh the expected benefits against the likely harm. Then act so that you escape pain and you do not inflict pain. This is true in worldly matters as well as in the spiritual field. It's a discourse Swami gave in 1965. That's another excerpt I have. What exactly is liberation? It is samadhi or peace attained through spiritual discipline of the cleansing of the inner person. The spiritual discipline of negating the impressions that one gets through seeing, hearing, reading, learning, doing, and getting done. People suffering unbearable physical agony don't take any interest in entertainment, do they? Similarly, a sincere seeker and devotee can have no interest in the world's theater of objective pleasure and petty passion. These inferior desires have first to be renounced and checked. They lie at the root of all misery. Passion is the product of delusion. It dwells in the mansion of activity, rajas. Renunciation or detachment, vairagya, is resident in the pure quality, sattvic guna. Passion is demonic, asuric in nature. Passion, ignorance, and egotism are all born of delusion. Passion brings about death, while detachment brings about liberation. It is wisdom. Stabilizing oneself in detachment. So, stabilizing oneself in detachment is itself the highest austerity, tapas. The most exacting vow. One has to be ever alert in the austerity and strive again and again. Like a child endeavoring to walk, you might toddle a few steps, falter and fall. But like the child, you must lift yourself up with a smile and start again. Peace is essential for such persistence. Failures are not boulders that block your way. Remember, they are stepping stones to victory. Be bound to the Atma in you. Take rest and refuge in that and meditate on that without interruption. Then all bonds will loosen of themselves. For the bond with which you attach yourself to the Lord or the Atma has the power of unbinding all other bonds. The unattached have real love toward all. Their love is not only pure, it's divine as well. It's the embodiment of peace. Without a doubt, one can attain the Lord if one becomes devoid of all passion or attachment, raga, and engages in the actions detailed above. Renunciation, so Renunciation or detachment, vairagya, of course, does not mean the giving up of hearth and home, or of high estate and even kingdoms. It is understanding of the divinity immanent in everything, the fading away of all the distinct names and forms, the bliss of experiencing in everything and every place the divine, which is its reality. That is the true meaning of the maxim detachment, raga lessness, vairagya. As long as one cognizes the world of name and form, one is burdened with attachment. How can one be desireless when the mind is immersed in thoughts, feelings, and experience of the objective world? One might have given up all and yet be full of these. Such cannot be said to have detachment. Surely, even for the acquisition of this pure spirit of detachment, peace is very necessary. So it's this excerpt from chapter 13 of Prashanti Vahini, where Swami is writing about detachment and renunciation. After all, the entire Bhaja Govindam is about cultivating detachment and attaining peace due to that. And that peace is essential for even devotion. Okay. To have devotion, we have to have peace. To having peace, detachment is necessary, and that's the order, which is nicely explained in Prashanti Vahini by Swami. And that's the whole purpose of the Bhaja Govindam also. So we will go to the final excerpt. I took this excerpt from the final discourse of 1973 Shama Shavas, where actually Swami spoke about Bhaja Govindam, so I thought it's very apt. It's a short one. So let's read that. The sages addressed all human beings as children of immortality, Amritasya Putra. But in spite of this definite assurance and the inexhaustible joy that can be experienced therefrom, man degrades himself into Anritaputra, child of falsehood, and starts wailing that he lacks this, that, or some other comfort or contraption. Thieves who rob him of valuable treasures like peace and contentment, equipoise and courage, are being honored as masters, and masters who ensure peace and happiness are treated with irreverence and disgust. You can bolt your doors and windows against thieves, but who can bolt the door against death? The thieves, lust, anger, greed, attachment, pride, and hate are honored as welcome guests, and the real well-wishers like tranquility and humility are shown the door. You desire to drink sweet drink, but instead of sugar, you drop salt into the cup, imagining salt to be sugar. That is the state of man today. He craves for peace, but does not know how to attain it. The means he adapts to do not lead him to the anticipated end. A large percentage of people who come to me ask for moksha, for self-realization or liberation from the bondage of grief and joy, birth and death. But when I offer to bless them with the consummation of their wish, they do not come forward. They would rather have it 10 years or 5 years later. So all the thirst and craving are just a pose. It is a fashionable slogan and nothing more. Man must be sincere. His word must be in conformity with his feeling. His action must be in conformity with his word. Resolve on this practice, at least from today. Do not be false to yourself. According to the practice of such holy days, this Prashanti flag will now be hoisted by me on this building. The flag represents a spiritual victory of the sadhaka who conquers the passions and emotions that drag him down and cultivates love and equanimity that elevate him. So when the flag goes up and unfurls on Prashant Nilayam, you too must hoist it on your head, hearts, and unfurl it there so that it may announce your spiritual victory. So I'm sorry to say that, this is actually a discourse which I accepted from a Shivaratri discourse from 1969. So this is not the final one, which I thought I got from the Samashavas final. So this Shivaratri discourse, and where Swami is talking about Prashanti, flag being hoisted. We'll look at the last one. So this land is called Bharat, and this signifies that her children enjoy the bliss of God. Bha stands for Icha or desire. Ra stands for Kriya, and Tha stands for wisdom. These three must be coordinated. In other words, our action should spring from the desire to attain the view of wisdom. We should not submit ourselves to any temporary excitements or allow our impulses to plunge us into thoughtless actions. The surge of thoughts arise and subside in you. While you indulge in thoughts, do not permit these thoughts to cloud the effulgence of Atma. The summer course was organized in order to acquaint you with Indian culture and spirituality, which would help to improve yourselves, resulting in the betterment of the future of the country. Therefore, you should not let any weakness dissuade you from treading the right path. If in a big tank there's a small hole, all the water will flow out. In the same manner, even if you have a small sensory desire in you, then all that you have learned will be of no avail. Attraction for the world distracts you from the reality. Just as you have draped your bodies in white, your mind should also be draped in white. That is, you should become pure. You should surrender to God, your pure heart filled with the vibrations of love. It is believed in our country that if you commit a sin knowingly or unknowingly, and if you have a dip in the Triveni Sangam or the confluence of the three rivers, then you will be saved from the consequences of that sin. It means that if you sincerely repent for your sins from the core of your being, then you will get rid of their consequences. All of you have a dip in the Triveni during the summer courts. All of you have had a dip in the Triveni during the summer courts, and therefore all your earlier faults have been atoned. You should guard yourself in the future by desisting from committing error and resisting evil. Good work and selfless love will help you to tread the path of wisdom. So this excerpt is from the final discourse. We have spent, 21 weeks studying this. I think we had to, the whole exercise is not to say we have studied. I think it should help each of us, all of us, to change our way we live, change our life to live without attachment of any kind. That was the purpose of this study, and that's what Swami has taught youngsters in 1973. And we had an opportunity to go through those discourses and what Swami tried to teach youngsters. So the most who are here, we are older. If youngsters are advised by Swami, and I think the older people, it is much more, the urgency of cultivating detachment is very high. Not too much time is left. That's I feel. I hope we all benefited. At least I personally benefited to a great extent. I thank Swami for giving us this opportunity to listen to his words, think of them, and spend time. And thank for all of you for just attending week after week and keeping company in this study. I hope all of you benefited. With this, our study of Bhaja Govindam comes to an end. We can always still continue to study, but this is a humble attempt, a small attempt. Hope may Swami bless us all to imbibe these lessons which we learn from him, uh, so that we can practice them and benefit and become closer to him. I'll stop here. If there are any questions on what was discussed today, and if I know the answer, I will share. Sai. So I guess there are no questions. So going forward, I got feedback from a few people. And so we had chosen either the Narada Bhakti Sutra or Yaksha Prashna, the question and answers from the Mahabharata. And they're slightly higher demand, I would say, for Narada Bhakti Sutra. Because just as you can say, Bhakti is more essential than what's right and wrong. So in that context, we will take up Narada Bhakti Sutra. I think last time I had mentioned a couple of hundred as the number of sutras. I was just confused and I wasn't remembering right. It's just over 80 sutras. Maybe we'll cover 3, 4, I guess, in the session. So it can go for about 20, 25 weeks. That's my hope. And we can take up Yaksha Prashna after that. It all depends on Swami's will. We will meet next week again with Narada Bhakti Sutras. Sai. Thanks, everyone. It's a joy to have you all share what I study with you all, and you are the motivation for my study. In the past, I have read some of these, but not in a structured manner, studying the whole thing. I say, aadu menjadu pola means, just like a goat grazing, you bite a little here, bite a little there. And through all you, the motivation to study properly end to end, Swami gave, and it was a joy. Thanks to all the encouragement which you all give. It was a nice journey, Saira. We'll meet again next week. We'll close with Samastaloka. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone.